Okay, and now for the last thing, you can literally just copy and paste everything from, and let's just make this a little bit readable. And let's just say if suffix, oops, I don't know why I kept that. Suffix is positive, and if suffix is negative. And let's just copy and paste this in here, and basically just inverse it. That's all it is. So alternate suffix, this won't be max, this will be min, because min is the whole reason why it's running through the if statement. So if suffix is min, then this is max. And positive name, no, positive name will be alternate suffix, and negative name will be the blend shape. So just simply flip that. Just like that, and let me just double check if everything is going according to plan. Seems like it is. And actually, I think I did something here. Oh well, I don't think I did. And if blend shape names dot contains alternate suffix, wait, did I do this right? Yeah, okay. That should still be true. And we want negative index here. So we find it's negative name. No, negative name. And we want this to be, we can just do this. We can just go up here, copy, paste, positive. Oh wait, no, alternate suffix is fine for that. So there we go. And of course, make sure, if for whatever reason, I don't know why it would ever do this, but just to keep in mind, just make this an if-else. So it can only fire, if this doesn't fire, then I'll check if it can fire this, because I don't know it's possible. I really doubt it. It shouldn't be, but who knows. I'm not going to allow it to happen in the coding. If this fires off, then if this is an if statement, then it's possible this can fire off, so I put an else. It shouldn't be. I don't see the reason why, but... And the reason why we also need it like that is because we want to have an else statement here. And for whatever reason, if you don't follow the naming convention, that is completely fine, because we fix it right here. And we simply say positive index. Once I can do this. So we can just say in one line of code, positive index mesh dot get blend shape index, get blend. Let's just type in index. Nope, I guess that didn't work. Shape index, and the index of course will be what we have right now, which is the actual name. So if you don't follow the naming convention, or if you purposely don't have the max and min in this, then this will be the odd one out, and I'll personally create its own slider, and I'll specify it in the positive index by default on the blend shape, and the negative index will be -1. And this is one of your cases where you only have one slider that goes one way to mess with that value, and this would be it. And technically, even if it's from 0 to 100, you could actually just put it at 50 if you think about it, and you can mess from 50 to 0 to 100. So if you want to make it simple for you, like for yourself like that, then that's one way to go about it, and that would change the whole scheme of this, of making it all dual layered. But I mean, that's okay too. I'm just glad I can help show you the way on how this works. But anyways, enough rambling. Positive index, mesh.getBlend shape, and this is going to be the blend shape names. And of course, it's still going through the for loop, so it's going to be this value of I, and of course semicolon. Now with that, we're finally out of these huge brackets, and we can finally just say blend shape database.add. And of course, what we're going to add is it's going to accept a string, and it's going to accept a blend shape. So we already have a no suffix created, assumingly, and the reason why we have the no suffix set up here is because, assuming if you didn't follow the naming convention, then just like I said, it'll be the odd one out, and it'll work as the name itself inside the database, and it's completely fine. So no suffix. So if it doesn't follow a max or min, that's no problem. If it does, then that's no problem too. I'll just take out the suffix. So that's how it works. No suffix works both ways. It works as the original name, and if it doesn't follow the naming convention, then I'll take the, well, it'll work without the no suffixes. It'll take out the no suffixes. But if you don't follow the naming the convention correctly, then it doesn't matter. No suffix will be the original name of that blend shape. There we go. And now, here comes the important part. We're going to create a blend shape inside the constructor, or inside adding this. So inside the constructor, just like how we did it earlier, it has a positive and negative index. And through here, if we did everything correctly, we have a negative index and we have a positive index. So it's just literally us typing positive index and negative index. And if those aren't set, then they're going to be -1. Hopefully one of these should not be -1, or this entire thing is pointless. Maybe I can have a check here that says debug.log error if both a -1, spit out error. You can do that if you want. Now I'm confident that shouldn't be the case, and of course make these ints, because that's what it accepts in the parameters. And oh wait, what am I doing? I'm losing it right now. New blend shape, and you pass in your positive index and you pass in your negative index. Do I have something wrong here? Oh, did I type in something wrong? Oh yes, I did. And let's add the last bracket. Almost lost it there. I thought I was creating a method for a second. And now we just need to delete the list. So basically remove selected indexes from the list. And basically, since now we have our, and this is why we have our for loop set like this, because we're going to be removing entries as we go through the for loop. And this is why we can't have I be iterated and have I to help us remain inside the for loop, because it will have lots of problems, because the count index will always change, and that's why we don't have the count index, or that's why we have the count index to check with itself if it's greater than 0, and if it's not, then we went through the entire list. Because basically the way this works is it's just going to keep deleting things as it goes. So with that in mind, if we have a positive index and doesn't equal -1, or I mean, if we have a positive name and if it doesn't equal string.empty, then we're simply just going to remove it. So positive name does not equal string.empty. And what we're going to do is we're going to say blend shape. Oops, I need to pay attention more. That is not an operator that exists. So blend shape.name. And did I spell positive name? Can I not spell? Yes, I cannot spell. Sorry about that. We're almost done. We're almost done. We just have to create one more function after this, I believe. So blend shape names, and we can say dot remove, and with the name we're going to pass in the string, and I'll find that exact item and remove it from that list. So positive name, there, bing bada boom, it's gone. Now let's just copy it, paste it, and let's just do the same for negative name. So it'll check itself and check if it's empty, and if it's not, then it'll delete itself. Nice and simple, and that is all we have to do for this class. I like to do this just to remind me when I work on this thing. End of loop, and this is just the end of class. Usually when I work on big things like this, sometimes I accidentally add another bracket or something, and you know how C# reacts with another bracket. It's not fun. Okay, now we can finally, after all that work, we can finally create our one simple function that basically allows our slider just to change all this, and it is beautifully done the way I like this. And all you have to do, well, it's a little bit hectic, but it's not compared to, if you can get over with the whole parsing blend shapes to the dictionary, then this shouldn't be a problem at all. So first off, we want to make sure we want to create a function. We said this earlier ago, is we want to pass in the blend shape name, because we want to know the name of the blend shape that we want to modify, and this is without the suffix, of course, that we specified for the naming convention. And we want to pass a value. So once we know the name of it, if we pass a value of 100, then it's going to go for the max side, and if we go pass a value that's under 0 to negative 100, then it's going to be on the other side, and that's how we set up the sliders here. When we look at the slider, we had it go from 100 max value and negative 100. So even though Unity blends except from 0 to 100, we can just trick it by simply multiplying with negative 1. Simple math, and we can make it go the other way. So let's just set that to 0. The way we're going to do this is we're simply going to first check if the name is legit. And before we do that, let's actually create the function. So this will be our first public function, and this is going to be the function that you can imagine your whole team will be using. It'll be nice and easy. They simply have to just pass a name and a value, and it works on any tart game object that has a skin mesh with Blendshapes. So public void, it's not going to return anything, and we're just going to say change blend shape. I don't know why did I capitalize that. Shape value. And like I said, we're going to have you're going to pass a string, and it's going to be blend shape name, and you're going to pass a float, which will be the slider value. I'll just call it the value. So from here, let's check if blend shape name database dot contains key, because it is a dictionary, so we have to check the key. And let's make this false, so just put exclamation mark or just say false. So if it cannot find the key that you're passing, so if it cannot find blendshape.name, like say you accidentally mistyped it and accidentally put like an extra Z or something, or you put, and it doesn't matter if you accidentally put spaces because we have that being taken care of built in here in the slider. But if you actually put in a character, then that's going to cause problems. So we, instead of Unity spitting out the error, we're going to build our own kind of error checker. And we're going to simply go debug.log error and just say blend. Oh, and it's nice to show the name of the blend shape that you type out, because it's really easy for debugging purposes. Because when you get an error, it's just going to point at this line of code right here, but you don't know which one you mistyped, and that's super important. So you need to keep that in mind for the people that's like in your team or for yourself. So blendshape.name plus does not exist. Simple, easy. So if you accidentally mistype, you can specify the name that this blend shape that you just typed out. That could be like maybe your cat walked on the keyboard and typed in a whole bunch of random characters. Now you'll know that for some reason you have a slider that is set to change a shape key name of that. And of course we want to return it because we don't want to actually do anything with this function. So with that, now we can start doing all the fun stuff. So we can say first, if for whatever reason that you're, because it can happen if they pass a value over 100 and negative 100, it technically doesn't matter, but I like to be neat because that's how I am. I just say mathf.clamp, whoops, and we can clamp that value between said value, so value from negative 100 to 100, nice and fancy, whoops, and there we go. So if they go over, it doesn't cause any issues. I don't know if there's actually issue with Unity itself if you go to some extraordinary large number, but if they do, then we can make sure it doesn't screw up anything, because it very well it could in the future, if not currently. So blend shape name, blend shape. So we're going to find the actual blend shape from within that dictionary. So now that we know that it exists, let's just not blurb shape, blend shape. We're gonna reference that memory address. So reference that element from the dictionary. So we're just gonna say blendshape.database and dot, or not dot, and of course you can pass in the key of blend shape now. So where's my blend shape.name? And of course it should return the value, and I'm having errors for some reason. Because I I'm treating it like a method. It's actually an index, kind of. But for dictionary, now we got the actual blend shape that was parsed through this entire script that we created earlier ago. And we'll find that correct blend shape based on that name, assuming it exists. So if it exists, it'll pass through this one line of code, and you should be able to execute this. If we didn't have this, then you're going to have a big error right here, and Unity won't be happy, and will start frowning. But okay, from there, now we got the value. We can do fun stuff with that blend shape wrapper that we created way earlier ago. So value, if the value is greater than or equal to, so if this value is greater than or equal to 0, then we can just say, if we want to modify that blend shape. So we want to modify the positive side of this blend shape, because if you remember, if you hit blend shape dot, or actually, if you check the actual blend shape, you can see we have our negative and positive index, and we're going to be using those indexes to mess with the indexes with inside the way it's ordered inside the way that it is ordered in the inspector of Unity for the blend shapes. So we say if blend shape dot positive index does not equal, or actually we can just say equal -1, then we can just return it. It will completely ignore it, and this is why those -1s are helpful, because we don't want to accidentally screw something up. But if it doesn't equal a -1, oh, actually this return might be, no, okay, that shouldn't be a problem, because we do want to execute it from the very top. So from there we can say skmr, once I can actually do that, and we can say set blend shape weight, and we can go blend shape, and it'll be the ID of this. So on the skin mesh renderer, for some reason it's separated from mesh, you can set the blend shape weight through here. You just have to specify an index, and because our blend shape has those indexes now, we can say positive index, and bing, we have it can change the value. Oh, except it needs to know the value it can change, and for whatever reason, now I'm just getting confused. It's a method. There, nice and simple. So you give it the index according to this, and then you give it the value, which is going to be the value up here. And bam. Now it'll go through, find the index within inside our blend shape, and it'll pass the value through our parameter from our method into here, and that's how it'll set that side. But when you think about it, when you set the positive side, so when you go over 0, when you move that slider, that means you want to set the other one, you want to set the negative index to 0. But of course, what if that negative index doesn't exist and this is a single slider? Well, you just need to do the same like this. Actually, we can just copy and paste both of these, and we can just say negative index and negative index. Oh wait, did I just change? Whoops. Let's change it up here. My mistake. Negative index, negative index. So when we move that slider, we want to make sure our here, I'll just explain it like here. See, technically you could have both of these positive, and you don't want that, and you can have one negative and one positive. The way we want it is when we move this to 0, then this will start moving, and this should be set to 0, right? Because that'd make more sense. So with that, we're going to go in here and set blend shape, and we're going to set this to 0. Nice and simple. And that's how we're going to do it. Now for the negative value, we can just do a simple else. And we can just simply copy and paste all of this. And we basically just inverse it. So negative index and negative, and this will be positive and positive. So if we go the other way, and assuming it exists, it will go to its value. But remember, the value on this will change it based on the slider. So we need to make sure we specify it that it's negative, because with the slider we'll be using this value, and if it wants to use the negative index, it'll pass a negative 100 here. So we want to make sure we reverse it right here back to a positive value, because Blendshapes doesn't know a negative value. If you look here at your human mesh, you can't set a negative value, of course. It only goes from 0 to 100. See that? But because we set up our slider to go from 0 to 100, from here we need to make sure we just do a simple times 1 here, or times -1 here, and it'll set to 100. And that's simply how we're going to do it. Or you can just put a negative here and it'll inverse that to a positive number. Nice and easy. And what am I getting errors for? Oh, because I changed this. There we go. Okay, and we have positive index set here to 0, and if it exists, then it wouldn't be set in the first place, and the same for this. And now, for the moment of truth almost, we can go back here, and we can simply just set our lambdas here and our one line of code. So remember earlier ago, we want a simple one-line function where you just simply, the user can simply drag and drop this and type the name here. Now that we have the database all organized and we have a function that correctly works, all we have to do is just simply on slider value change dot add listener, and we're going to be passing the value of this slider, because this is the value that exposes through their event system. So we can just say value, and you can call it X or whatever, because we're using lambda, so it doesn't matter. And since we created character customization as an instance, I should show this earlier ago, like I said about the whole talk about singletons. This is now a private class. You can't just call character customization, or you can't say new character customization or any of that. That shouldn't be possible because it doesn't exist yet. It's inaccessible due to its protection level, because we created it through an instance. So the way that works is character customization dot, and if you remember in singleton, we have the public class called instance. So we can just call instant. Why did that not come up as instance? Oh, okay. Wow, I should have done this earlier ago. So we actually created the singleton class, but we never actually made our character customization singleton. But don't worry, it's really simple. You have this all set up. Now you'll see that it's a model behavior. Well, we don't want it. Well, we want it as a model behavior, but we want it as a singleton model behavior. It's going to inherit this, which is a model behavior. So simply just take this singleton, or model behavior, turn it to singleton, and since we have it's a generic class, we can pass itself, and it'll only accept if it's well, it'll make sure this is a model behavior class, because that's where it's inheriting, and that's all you have to do to make a singleton class. So if you have a game manager or anything, you can just simply go singleton, and then pass itself, and then make it whatever class you want in the middle. So you can just go game manager, simple, because that should be commonly a singleton. But yep, now it's a singleton. We can go back here, dot instance, and there it is, and that's the single instance that only exists. And now that we have the instance, if you press dot, we have access to everything about this class. And the only thing that we care about is the public function we created, which is change blend shape value. So now from here, all we have to do is simply just go, okay, so we have a name of it. We have the name set right here, so blend shape name. And we also have the value, which is built in through the slider. And we can just go value. And with that, make sure you have that extra bracket. And control save, and now here's the moment of truth. Okay. Let's look at our slider. Let's set up all our sliders. So let's just highlight, shift, and do all that. And let's just drag and drop a blend shape slider. And this is specifically for our sliders. And let's go through and name each one. So what do I have exactly? I don't remember. I got cheek, I got nose width, and I got nose depth. So what did I have for the first one? Nose width. So cheek, nose depth, and And this is why I said that I probably shouldn't put a max at the end of this, because now since it's by itself, actually no, it doesn't matter even if I type a max. So I could possibly, for this last one, I can type in its full name, or just type in its chin height, and it doesn't matter. But normally if you have a single one, then don't worry about the max, worry about the suffix, honestly. So you can just go chin height, or you can go chin max. They both should work, I assume. I'm not sure, not 100% tested, but I guess we'll find out now. And control save, because saving is good. And I actually never created this scene, have I? So test, let's just create a scene really fast. There it is. And let's just hit play. And okay, I'm having problems. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Okay, what exactly? Oh, okay. And another problem I actually forgot to do is I never actually initialized this. Wow. And another thing I just remembered is I never put the database. So set up database function, we can take out that comment. Parse the database to dictionary. Simple, because we're just having it done right there. And now for our initialize class, put it at start. And there we go. It didn't exist because database never parsed itself because we never allowed it to. And now, let's see. Oh, okay, now we're getting errors still. Object reference not set to an instance of an object still. Okay, what is this problem here? Character customization does not exist anymore. Oh, okay. And our other problem is we don't actually have a target here. So let's drag our target. Now let's see if this works. Oh boy. Okay. What are these issues I'm getting here? Object reference not set to an instance of an object. But according, okay, yeah, all 4 sliders do not have an instance. Let's see what line. Code 22. Code 22. So it cannot find slider on value change. Oh, wait, no. Oh, okay, wow. For those of you that were probably screaming at me since the very like first 10 minutes, make sure you reference this. Now it works. And that is how I get through my whole debug process. Okay, no errors, nothing breaking. Kind of scared to move the mouse too much. Let's just move this. Oh, there's our nose width, because that's what our slider is for that first one. It's working. And let's see if it works the other way. Negative values starting. Yep, it's working. Let's try the other ones. Cheek max, cheek min, and nose depth. You can't really see that. You actually had to move the camera. Let's see if I can move the camera efficiently here, because my nose width is basically that should be it. It should be Z. And whoops, clipping there. Yep, there's the nose width right there. Ooh. And of course it's the chin, and we can see that right there. And this is the one with the single value by itself. And let's actually test something out. What happens if we do chin max? I'm actually quite curious about that. Whoops, and of course spell it correctly. I mean, this will still technically work, because remember, misspelling works, except it will only be treated as a single. It won't work in the middle. This will be treated as a single one. Okay, nope. Chin height max does not exist. Okay, so make sure you don't follow the naming convention for if there's a single one. I mean, it still works if it has a suffix, but you might as well not bother putting it in. And now it works if I change it. I didn't know it works live, huh? But there you go. I mean, I guess it works live, of course, because I'm parsing it separately, and this will only look for the specific name. So it works live, of course. You can just go like this, nose, and let's do width so you can see it. And now this works as a nose width, but since this is only on the positive value, see how that works? It doesn't go negative because we never gave it a negative value. And let's say for whatever reason we actually do use chin height, whoops, and spell it correctly, And let's say we do give it from a value of 0 to 100, because right now if you see it move, it does that. But let's say we give it negative 100. Will that break the programming? Nope, it doesn't do anything. And well, there you go. And that's how you basically set it. And for those who are planning on having a whole lot of blend shapes, all you have to do is simply just change your target to skin mesh renderer like this. And you can go here and say skin mesh renderer equals target. So this is for people who specifically wants to target a skin mesh renderer, and this should simply work. Whoops, let's just go in here, and once it loads that script, let's clear it, and make sure you go in here because it's going to be empty, character customization. So you can just drag in your specific skin mesh renderer, click play button, and assuming you follow the naming convention that you set up, and this should still work. And there we go. It works perfectly. And you can have multiple options, and of course I forgot to set that blend shape height, doesn't work, or max. Whoops. So make sure you just set that correctly, and there, blend shape max works. And that is how you create your character customization with Unity. I'm Glauz, and if you have any questions, I'll be happily answer them in the comments below. And maybe we can do more from here, I don't know. But for now, this is really amazing, and hopefully you can have a knack with this. A knack, doesn't even say that. Hopefully you can have a lot of fun with this, and I hope you learned a lot. Sorry about my rambling. Hopefully I can improve this over the course of the videos if I actually do another one. And you can see you can get really funny results. And even if you ever follow this tutorial and you create a project, show it off to me. I would love to see it. Well, and that's it for this video, so thanks for watching.